Have you ever wondered why Chanel No. 5 was called No. 5? Well, are you also wondering if it's a perfume for you? And what does it even smell like? Well, in this video, there will be two parts. I'll be reviewing Chanel No. 5 in case you want to buy it, and the other part, we're going to be going over the history of Chanel No. 5, including answering that mysterious question, why is it called No. 5, including its history with Nazi Germany. Let's get into it. If you'd like to skip to the review part, I'll try to link in the description below, but I highly encourage you to learn and appreciate the history of Chanel No. 5 so that you even know why you're even buying this piece of iconography in the first place that has not even changed over the course of 100 years. Owning luxury items without an appreciation for the brand and heritage can be seen as mindless consumption. Because we're building a piece of history. Le Petit Candidier, aka Little Camp God in French, in Grasse, France, is run by Joseph Mul, a 5th generation farmer producing flowers. And it makes sense for him to raise plants there, and I'm sure there's plenty of grass in Grasse, if you know what I mean. Haha. He has 100 hectares, and 5 of those are for centifolia plants, and 5 of those hectares are for jasmine plants, all of which are used in the making of Chanel No. 5. Chanel No. 5 signed a contract with Coco Chanel in 1986, where he would be the exclusive producer of all of the jasmine flowers and the only jasmine flowers in Chanel No. 5. Centifolia are produced by Joseph exclusively for Chanel No. 5, and he is the only farmer to produce these, as they are so finicky to grow that all of the other farmers who grow flowers for perfumers leave this flower exclusively to Joseph. And Chanel is also the only client of his to use his jasmine. Every May he harvests 50 tons of centifolia, and every September he harvests 25 tons of jasmine, which all 25 tons of jasmine are used exclusively and only for Chanel No. 5. This is Joseph's company, is still one of the last few farmers in Grasse to still produce flowers for perfume. Originally, the Mul family started growing hay, but back then, leather tanning in Grasse demanded flowers to treat the smell, so Mul eventually switched to roses and jasmine. And then the peak for perfumers in Grasse growing flowers in production was from the 20s to the 50s. But the cheap labor then in other countries such as China, Egypt, Morocco, and southern Italy, India, and Turkey then wiped out most of the industry in Italy, because first it migrated from Italy to southern Italy, and then to Morocco, which was cheaper, and then to Egypt, and then to Turkey, and China, and India. And so you can see how eventually farming in Grasse for flowers became more of a haute couture sort of deal, where only the finest flowers are then produced in northern Italy, such as in Grasse. And it has become the haute couture of all flowers to be used in perfume. And it's the very best quality and also the most expensive you can get anywhere. The cost of Joseph Mul's centifolia costs more than Damascena, which is used in Coco by Chanel, another perfume, and centifolia by Joseph Mul costs 6 times more than it does for Damascena, the other rose that's used in Coco by Chanel, which is grown in Turkey, at only $1 a kilo, versus the centifolia grown by Joseph Mul, which costs $6 a kilo. And because of the cheaper flowers and production, Grasse went from 30 tons of Jasmine Absolute in the 1920s to 50s in a year to only 65 pounds today of production. And let me run the math. What is that? Okay, hold on. Let me calculate that. I am really bad at math. One moment. Jeez, that's small. As a result, these flowers have become the golden standard for flowers. As I've said, they are the haute couture of flowers being used in perfume today, including Chanel No. 5. Only the best for Chanel No. 5. Chanel uses all of Joseph Mul's jasmine and only 40% of his roses. According to Mul, Chanel is one of the only old perfume that hasn't changed. Imagine me saying this in his French accent, or Italian accent actually, because he's Italian. As long as number 5 exists, will be here. And centifolia that Mul grows is the Rose de May, or May rose, which is called that because it only blooms once a year in May. And if you remember that statistic I mentioned earlier, he harvests 50 tons of centifolia in May. And it doesn't have a sweet note to it like other roses in your garden, as he says that May rose or centifolia has a more serious scent to it, almost with an acrid edge. It is not sweet smelling, which we'll also be talking about how this perfume smells later in the review portion, whether or not you may or may not like the scent of Chanel No. 5. Scent is very objective. And the process of extracting from the flowers the absolute is quite a complicated process. But Mul never used to extract flowers in his business with Coco Chanel. It was only in 1986 when he finally secured the contract to become Chanel No. 5's exclusive supplier for jasmine and a lot of the centifolia did he eventually decide, I'm gonna take up extracting flowers as part of my business with them because, hey, why not? Grass is dying. Because after the peak of the 1920s to the 1950s, they were starting to lose business to all the cheaper labor and outsourcing of cheaper flowers being planted elsewhere. Now I'm going to demonstrate with you the steps of how the centifolia plant became the absolute used in Chanel No. 5. And it was in multiple steps that Joseph Mul did this. First, he would dump all the flowers into extractor vats with hexane in them, and each vat had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers that would be filled full, and the layers were separated in the vat so that the flowers at the top and the weight of them would not crush the flowers at the bottom of the vat. And then once it has been kind of soaked in there in the hexane long enough, the roses are discarded like some dirty old socks, and the syrupy liquid that remains is then cooked, and then it is cooked until all of the solvent is evaporated, and then the remaining substance is called concrete. Not the concrete that's mixed in cement that you see on your sidewalks, however. It is the kind of concrete that is mixed with alcohol from beets. Chanel actually uses alcohol that is made from beets for their perfume. But in order to get the absolute, we do not stop there. We mix the concrete with alcohol and then we chill it. We chill it at negative 15 degrees Celsius or 5 degrees Fahrenheit to remove the fat. Because once you chill it at that temperature, that cold temperature, all the fat rises to the top and then you skim it off. You just skim it off like you're skimming off the fat in your soups or your broths. For those who cook, you know what I mean. Like when you have a slow pressure cooker and you have some meat in there, the fat that you cook, you can't see it when it's hot in the liquid. But once you put it in the fridge the next morning, you'll see a layer or a ring of fat around the top of the soup. And fat just naturally rises when it's cool. So they're able to skim that off, like how you cook food and the fat just naturally rises to the top, you skim it off. And then the solution is then reheated at 40 degrees Celsius or 104 degrees Fahrenheit to cook off all of the alcohol, evaporate it, and then leave only the absolute. Haha! It is the absolute only thing left that you actually need to put in the perfume. Sorry, that was a bad joke. Anyway, the absolute is the thing that you have left over from the flowers, and that is what makes up the integral part of the scent in Chanel No. 5. Chanel only uses centifolia absolute for perfume, and perfume is important because it serves an accessible way for the brand to show people how to dabble with a little bit of luxury without going full out, especially for the middle class who may be able to afford a bottle of eau de parfum Chanel No. 5, but not a $7,000 handbag. And see videos that I will link up above here in the title card to show how I've talked about this previously, where the luxury globalization movement has created luxury that's targeted towards the middle class and become more accessible as a result of capitalism. I'll link videos part 1 and part 2 right here if you want to go check it out. But stay for this video and then check it out later. I'll also link it in the description. I'll try to link it, so check out those videos that I've mentioned. So now, why is it called Chanel number 5? Well, that's a good question. In 1919, Chanel met Ernest Beau, a Frenchman who grew up in Russia, and he grew up to become the Tsar's perfumer when the Romanovs were still in power. And back then, when perfumes were just monoflower, meaning only one scent, orange blossom, violet, rose, and in fancy bottles, which was just a one-trick pony smell, that's all they had. To them, it was just that one smell, and they were packaged in pretty fancy little bottles to entice you to buy them, but the scents were quite monotone. Chanel said that she wanted everything in the perfume and nothing in the bottle. And what she means is that she wants all of the thing about the perfume to be about the scent and the incredibleness and your experience to come solely from like the experience of the beauty of the scent and not just the bottle. So she did an abstract of flowers containing more than one flower in developing Chanel number 5. And Beau made multiple concoctions and he showcased it to her. And Coco chose the 5th option and she named it Voila Chanel number 5. Number 5 has about 80 ingredients, which since 1986, jasmine has come exclusively from Joseph Mul, and Yang Yang, which is an exotic flower from the coast of West Africa. Don't come after me. I don't know how Yang Yang is pronounced. But the bottle is just like she wanted. It is the opposite of extravagant compared to all the other bottles at the time. And now, funnily enough, it has become the Rolls Royce of bottle design, as Jacques Polges has mentioned. And at the time, it was the most basic shape you could find. It was just a simple chemist's laboratory bottle, which was this rectangular cut glass stopper, and it was based on Paris Lace Vendôme. And it was different than any other perfume of its time because it was abstract. It included multiple scents of flowers in there. It wasn't just one scent. As I mentioned, it was over 80 ingredients. That's pretty significant and pretty complex. And now today, it is still different than any other perfume of its time because, as Jacques Polges said, it is from another era, and each year that passes, the more strange and foreign it becomes, which I definitely agree. It does not smell like any other typical perfume that we have today. Chanel wanted to test if this perfume would be successful. In Cannes, Chanel brought Beau and a few friends to a restaurant, and every time this chic woman would walk past, she would spray this perfume into the air, and every time she sprayed it in front of that woman, she would pause, stop, and sniff it. She would sniff it and appear to have been enchanted by the perfume. And Chanel, who was satisfied with that result, she then decided, alright, I'm going to launch this. So she went back to Paris and then she launched it quietly on the shelves. And she also sprayed it in the dressing rooms of her boutique and also on herself, and gave it away to other high society friends that she had. And it was a hit. Oh boy, you bet it was a hit, because everyone started to gossip about it and rumor, oh, did you hear Mademoiselle Chanel has a perfume? And then eventually those like little rumors became like demands from the customers who really wanted to buy this. And so Chanel had to then step up production, because then a French department store also wanted to sell her perfume in stock. And so Theodore, I believe his name is Theodore Bader, introduced her to Peter Wertheimer, who had a factory which could produce Chanel number 5. And then with that, they started to produce Chanel number 5, with Bader receiving a 20% finder's fee to refer Chanel to Wertheimer and his factory. And Wertheimer got 70% of the profits, and Chanel only got 10% of the profits, which Chanel only got 10%, which I really feel like is such a ripoff, because she's the one who developed the perfume in conjunction with Ernest Beau. So even though Wertheimer was producing it, I don't think it was really fair for him to take a 70% cut. Eventually, it became so popular that the GIs would bring it home for their darlings after World War II. Marilyn Monroe said this is all she wore to bed. Andy Warhol even made a rainbowed silk-screened image of the Chanel number 5 bottle, and today it is also the standard in which someone determines a nose. Like, do you have good taste or not, is what people determine, is if you like Chanel No. 5, which I don't agree with because I do think scent is very subjective. Today, it is still the standard that young perfumers try to aim for, and they try to replicate the scent of Chanel No. 5. But no one can ever replicate the scent of Chanel No. 5 unless you have Joseph Mul Centifolia and Joseph Mul Jasmine, which you cannot get because he sells all of it to Chanel No. 5. And how are you going to replicate it if you don't have it? Because even if you use another kind of jasmine that was not Joseph Mul's, it's gonna smell different. It's crazy, but it does smell different, even if it's the same flower but grown somewhere else. Chanel herself said that if you want to be original, be ready to be copied. It is said that one bottle of Chanel No. 5 sells every 30 seconds in the world. And if you do the math on that, which I did my math before this time, it is 2,880 bottles in one single day. Just imagine how much that would be over 100+ years since the design and the scent has come out. That's a lot of bottles. As I mentioned earlier, Wertheimer got 70% and Chanel only got 10%, and Bader got 20% of sales. Chanel started to realize that she'd been ripped off in the deal, and she started to send out lawsuits to get more money from the sales of Chanel No. 5, and Wertheimer even had an entire team to deal with her, and they called her that bloody woman because she kept trying to get more. And I totally understand where she's coming from because the Wertheimers had no hand in creating this scent at all. I mean, if anything else, I feel like Ernest Beau should have come after her with more money as well, because Chanel and Ernest Beau were the ones who developed this. The only thing that the Wertheimers are doing is producing and distributing Chanel No. 5, which they should still get a decent cut for, but I do not think they should be earning 70% of all the sales for something that they're merely distributing. That is not their sole creation. They were not the ones who created it. And Chanel, over the years, actually added many more popular scents, but none of them were nearly as popular as the No. 5. And in 1929, No. 5 was the #1 best-selling perfume in the world. When the Nazis took over, the Wertheimers, who were Jewish, moved to America, and Chanel, in an evil power move, led the Nazis to them. But by that point, they had already anticipated she would do that, and they had already bought 50% of Amio, which is an airplane company that supplies to the German military aircraft. And when they sold to Amio Chanel's Le Parfum, or Le Parfum Chanel, the Nazis left Le Parfum Chanel alone because it was under Amio, which was their supplier, so they didn't want to come after them. But they came after the Wertheimers. But the Wertheimers, after the war, came back and bought back Le Parfum Chanel from Amio, and so they were able to get their business back, and it was perfectly safe. But Chanel was very mad. She threatened to create her own line of perfume called Mademoiselle No. 5, and I don't think she ever really did. After the Wertheimers bought back Le Parfum Chanel, not long after it was on Chanel's deathbed that the Wertheimers negotiated a deal with her that in exchange for owning all of Chanel, the name, the fashion, and Parfum, in exchange for that, they would be paying for all of her personal expenses for the rest of her life, including her taxes and the original store on Rue Cambon. And she agreed. She did not have any heirs or anyone to take over the business after her. And because she had no heirs, when she died, the Wertheimers started to also inherit the 10% that she was earning in money every time there was a sale. And they are still to this day, still the owners of Chanel. And I think it's honestly quite unfair that a company that gypped Chanel out of a really good deal on making profit on Chanel No. 5 now owns all of Chanel. But hey, at least better than Bernard Arnault, who is like a madman trying to dictate over the luxury world by trying to buy up everything, monopolizing everything, which I talk about in my luxury globalization videos, part 1 and 2, which I'll try to insert a video card up here in the top corner and in the description bar, part 1 and 2. So please go and watch that if you're interested in learning more after this video. After her death, Chanel continues to live on through No. 5, and it's been over 100 years since the beginning of Chanel No. 5, and it is still Chanel Chanel's flagship scent. It's like their timeless classic. It's like they had that one trick pony that's like been there and everyone loves it and it hasn't changed. It's part of their history. I would even argue Chanel No. 5 is just as old, if not older, than their timeless classic design because they're both so iconic and so iconically Chanel. Joseph Mul became the next perfumer in charge of keeping the scent alive after Ernest Beau, and he became his successor. And he is also now in charge of not changing the scent at all and keeping it consistent. He never changed the original ingredients, and to this day we still use Mul's jasmine and centifolia, and any other jasmine that we changed it to would change the scent. Now to the review portion. I hope you enjoyed the history section, but if you did not listen, please go back and have a listen. It's really interesting. I promise you'll learn something that you didn't know before, hopefully. According to French poet Paul Valéry, a woman who doesn't wear perfume has no future. And in this section of the video, I believe anyone who loves perfume would agree. If that's true too, then I am well armed with Chanel No. 5, YSL Black Opium, and Hene Mori Butterfly. Chanel No. 5 is made from jasmine and centifolia roses from Joseph Mul farm in Le Petit Campitia, or aka the Little Camp of God in Grasse, France, which I talk about in the history section of this video, which if you haven't seen, please go back and have a listen. It exhibits scents of centifolia roses, the smell that is more mature than sweet. It is not a sweet rose. If you're picking up this perfume, don't expect something sweet. It's not. What is the difference, you ask, between Chanel No. 5 Parfum, Eau de Parfum, in this case we'll abbreviate it as EDP, Eau de Toilette, or EDT, or Eau de Cologne, which we may abbreviate as EDC. Well, in my case, I have Eau de Parfum here, but there are different levels of concentrated perfume you can get historically, which is one Parfum, which is 20 to 30% concentrate of the solution that gives off the scent. There's Eau de Parfum, which is 15 to 20% concentrate. Eau de Toilette, which is 5 to 15% concentrate, and Eau de Cologne, which does not actually exist in Chanel No. 5 as a sort of perfume choice, but I wanted to mention that it is 2 to 4% concentrate, which in the past, before Chanel No. 5 was created, masses would wear because it was cheaper and it was a mixture of the scent diluted with orange blossom or lemon water. Eau de Toilette is one of the most common dilutions because it is meant to be more accessible to the middle market. Like I mentioned in the history portion of this video and linked to Luxury Globalization are here and also in the description bar below, which you can check out after this video. My boyfriend's opinion is that Chanel No. 5 smells like baby powder. What's my opinion? Well, from world, I see why he thinks it smells like baby powder. I'm not gonna lie. I think it smells more like an older scent, aka old lady scent, but maybe I'm just biased because my mother actually gave me this bottle, hence probably the association. Sorry, Mom. I was disappointed that it didn't smell as great as the history of it is making it sound. Like, the history is just incredible behind this scent, and I have a deep respect for Chanel No. 5, but I did not like the scent so much. It seems a little bit outdated to me, and it is definitely an acquired taste. It is definitely a smell for those who like it and can appreciate it for what it is, but personally, I don't think it is for me, and I think that's perhaps why Chanel started to release more modern scents like Coco and the premiere version of Chanel No. 5, because it was a bit of a mature scent and too heavy for some. In the history portion of this video, which please watch it, linked in the description and above, I remarked that centifolia or May rose isn't like other roses. It is not a sweet smelling perfume because the two main ingredients in this perfume do not smell like that. Jasmine and May rose do not smell sweet. May rose, in particular, does not smell sweet. Centifolia, aka May rose, is described by Joseph Mul to be a serious rose that smells very serious, mature, and almost with an acrid edge to it. And jasmine flower, which to me just sounds very soft and subtly pleasant, soft and fragrant. My preference is definitely sweeter scents like YSL Black Opium, and let me know if you want me to do a review on that as well. I would love to. I tend to associate people sometimes that are younger with liking sweeter scents and older ladies to like more mature scents like baby powder. I mean Chanel No. 5. I'm just kidding. I jest. But to digress, it is a good scent. It is just not my taste. You should not buy it if you like sweet scent. It is softer and it breezes past the nose a lot more subtly. That's the kind of scent that I got when I have Chanel No. 5 when I smell it. I don't really have the nose of a connoisseur, but I do have an average nose, like the other person, and just for my taste, I don't like it as an average. And it's fine not to like Chanel No. 5. You don't have to like Chanel No. 5. Like, I appreciate the history of Chanel No. 5, but I don't like it. And scents are subjective, as our opinion. Don't let anyone tell you you can't smell just because you don't like Chanel No. 5 and that it's a legendary scent, but you don't have to like it. Don't think that you're missing out. It may be the calm down tones of this scent that has allowed this scent, though, to perhaps transcend over 100 years' time. It is something which I can find like less easily tired of than a sweeter scent, because I find that sweeter scents you can more easily tire of because they're just so sweet sometimes. Like sometimes you just don't want that sort of sweet, strong syrup scent, and in that way it may make the scent a lot more classic, because usually the things that are classic are the ones which are a lot more toned down and understated. And in today's world, compared to some other perfumes, this is definitely a more calmed down scent, which may help it remain a lot more understated and classic. Prices. According to perfume concentrations, usually when a perfume is more concentrated, the more money it'll cost. But also, you also get more bang for your buck when it's concentrated. Parfum will last all day with one application. Chanel No. 5 Parfum will last all day, I feel like, with one application. Because parfums in general, that's the baseline. But eau de parfum, which is what I'm holding right here, you may need 2 to 3 touch-ups throughout the day to maintain an all-day scent. But with eau de toilette, you may need multiple applications to retain this scent all day, otherwise it'll just fade away and you can't really smell it. And if we're doing a price comparison between Chanel No. 5 at approximately 1 ounce through Parfum, eau de parfum, eau de toilette, at 1 ounce of Parfum, this will cost you $340. And there's 3 sizes, 0.25, 0.5, and 1 ounce. And at 1.2 ounces of eau de parfum, eau de parfum, eau de première, and eau de toilette only have 1.2. They do not have an exact 1 ounce. So this is the closest approximation I have it to compare it to in terms of price for the concentration of Parfum. At 1.2 ounces of eau de parfum, it costs $82, and it comes in 4 sizes: a 1.2 ounce, a 1.7 ounce, a 3.4 ounce, and a 6.8 ounce. And at 1.2 ounces of the eau de première spray, it will cost you $82, and it comes in 3 sizes: 1.2, 1.7, and 3.4. You'll be finding that eau de parfum, eau première, and eau de toilette all cost the same amount. Eau de première is a different version of Chanel No. 5, which has been twiddled with to be a little bit more for the younger taste, I assume. A little bit more light and airy. But 1.2 ounces of eau de toilette is still $82, the same as eau de parfum, and that surprises me. There's also 4 sizes: 1.2, 1.4, 3.4, and 6.8. It surprises me that eau de toilette costs the same price as eau de parfum in every single size, because with eau de parfum, you're getting a higher concentration of scent versus eau de toilette, which means you're getting more bang for your buck and you're getting more perfume. You're getting more of that signature absolute in every bottle and every spray that you apply every morning. But yet, it costs the same, which to me is mind-blowing. I feel like Chanel should lower the price of eau de toilette, but maybe they're trying to keep it exclusive by pricing it the same. And even so, even though you're getting more bang for your buck with eau de parfum versus eau de toilette, I can still see why someone may possibly buy eau de toilette simply because eau de toilette is a fainter scent, which some people may not prefer the stronger scent of eau de parfum. And another notable perfume for Chanel No. 5 at this time that I'm recording that I noticed on their website is the Grand Extrait, which is very expensive. The smallest size they have is a 7.6 ounce, and the larger size they have is a 30 ounce. You see screenshots here for prices. The Grand Extrait, and if you translate that from French to English, it translates to large extract, which I presume means more absolute in the limited edition. Plus, the color is darker, hinting to me that the concentration includes more parfum, because if it was lighter, it would mean probably less concentration and less parfum and less absolute. Do you want to know what the heck absolute is? Please go to the flower power section of the history section earlier in this video, which I highly suggest that you watch, and come back to this video section here below. But anyways, the color of Parfum to eau de toilette gets lighter and the concentration also gets lighter because it's diluted with more liquid. You can see how the Grand Extrait is a darker color than the Parfum, and the Parfum has darker color than the Eau de Parfum, and so does the Eau de Parfum has more darker tone than the Eau de Toilette, and so on. Now, which concentration should you buy? It's really down to a matter of a few factors: budget, convenience, and preference. If you have a tight budget, for most people, I would suggest that you buy Eau de Parfum and not Eau de Toilette, since they are the same price for every single friggin' size, and you get more bang for your buck with a higher scent concentration. Plus, you don't have to apply the scent as frequently throughout the entire day because it is a stronger concentration. Like, what is there else to question? But unless you're on a tighter budget and you have a preference for a lighter scent, then maybe perhaps Eau de Toilette would be the way to go. But I feel like that would be in the minority of people if you feel like Eau de Parfum is just too strong for you. In other cases, I would definitely recommend Eau de Parfum if you're looking for something that's better for your budget. I do not know about Eau Premiere, so I cannot recommend on that, but the prices are the same. So if you like Eau de Premiere more than Eau de Parfum, possibly you could get Eau Premiere, but I do not know what the concentration of Eau Premiere is. This brings me to my next point of preferences. And perfumes smell different from concentration to concentration. Parfum will smell different than Eau de Parfum, which will smell different from Eau de Toilette. Parfum may be too strong a scent for you, and you may prefer a lighter scent of Eau de Parfum or Eau de Toilette. And to the last point of convenience, the stronger scents will have more concentrate and will also last you longer throughout the day. The question you might want to ask yourself is, do you mind reapplying throughout the entire day, or do you prefer not to? If you don't want to, then Parfum may be the one for you because you can apply Parfum once in the morning and that's all you need to for the entire day. A few times for Eau de Parfum a day, maintain consistent scent, and multiple times for Eau de Toilette. I have the Eau de Parfum here, which lasts me a few hours. And which size do you buy? I have the 3.4 ounce bottle here with me, but from my experience of using a 3.4 ounce bottle and another perfume and using it every day, I've only barely managed to get about halfway through the Hane Mori bottle, which is my daily perfume. I've been consistently using it for about 6 to 8 months with 2 to 4 spritzes each time, and now it is about halfway empty or halfway full. Depends on if you're the kind of person who likes to look at their glass half full or half empty. I assume it's the same with Chanel No. 5's 3.4 ounce bottle, but I have to put out a disclaimer that I did get this bottle for my mom, so it did come with a little bit more than it does right now. I've only used this a few times already. I estimate that if you were to use this bottle daily with about 2 to 4 spritzes each time, it may last you as a 1 ounce or 1.2 ounce about 3.5 to 5 months, a 1.7 ounce bottle 6 to 9 months, a 3.4 ounce bottle, which is what I'm holding here, 12 to 16 months, a 6.8 ounce bottle 24 to 32 months. This may even last longer if you don't use it every day, or less if you like to literally bathe yourself in Chanel No. 5, which I do not recommend. Please don't. Ultimately, I can only advise on what to consider if you really want to know what Chanel No. 5 smells like, which one is best for you. I would highly recommend that you go to a department beauty store and in that perfume section, test it and smell perfume to see what you like and just perfume shop. Any reputable perfume shop should have Chanel No. 5, as it is the king of all perfume. The history portion of this video references How Luxury Lost Its Luster by Dana Thomas. There is so much more to the perfume industry that I did not even include, but please read that book for more amazing knowledge, and I swear this video is not sponsored by that book. I'm just a fan of that book. If you love couture, style, and analysis as much as we do here, then go down and like and subscribe so you can get your weekly CSA, PSA hot off the press. Shout out to what you found interesting in the comments down below. If not, then are you gonna buy Chanel No. 5? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below, and if you liked this video. I'll see you in my next one. Bye!